Good, good, especially after that win last
Yeah,
night. Big win.
yeah,
Um, we have said previously that we had to win 3 out of the 4 coming off the bye. We got 2 of 4. I think I had lost hope after week 7, but that defense stepped up, and the last 2 weeks has stepped up now. The Bears QB wasn't that great, but Zach Wilson's been a starter for 2 years now. So, he's not the best quarterback, obviously, but still, he's a starting quarterback. And the defense stepped up. And I think it was last week I said Eloy Gillman, when he's on the field, it just makes his defense better. And we saw that yesterday again. But, it was it was fun seeing Tuli and Mack and Bosa all get sacks yesterday. That D line, I think, has come alive. And I think Morgan Fox is a guy who, should be like the main focus of that D line, because Sebastian Joseph Day, he's kind of on and off, but Morgan Fox seems to give it his all every game. And so during the playoffs, I think Fox is going to have a big role if they make the playoffs. I think he's going to have a big role. But big win. I mean, in terms of just standings, we're 4-4 now, and so are the Jets. So Derwin came up to Aaron Rodgers after the game and said, "When are you coming back?" And he said, "Give me a couple weeks." Like, oh shoot, because if Rodgers comes back, that's going to be a good team. So that's a team to watch out for if Rodgers comes back before playoffs.
yeah. Definitely a huge win. Another dominating win for the second week in a row. And Bosa was huge. The strip sack. Yeah, the whole defense, like you said, Alohi Gillman, Tuli, Mack, um, Morgan Fox. Yeah, I think I read we had 28 pressures last night. That's insane.
Yeah,
Uh, Gilman Gilman almost had a touchdown. He was down at the 1 yard line. Some people are going to criticize Herbert, but he played a great game. He didn't turn the ball over. We knew that this defense was going to be really tough to play against.
yeah,
So uh, I don't think either of us was expecting like a 300-yard, 3 touchdown game from Herbert.
no,
Just just play clean, and he made the right reads. Uh, Keenan Allen had a nice game. Quinton had a couple catches.
yeah,
And we didn't let Brees Hall run all over us. He had a few nice runs, but he didn't control the game. You
yeah,
know, um, so yeah, huge win. And let's keep it going against the Lions.
yeah, yeah. No, I completely agree. I mean, yeah, we didn't expect Herbert to have a crazy game. That's one of the best defenses in the league, and on the road. I know that a lot of guys had Herbert, over passing yards, over rushing yards, over passing attempts, all these things. And I'm like, guys, he might not get any of these, because this is a very tough defense. And his completion percentage was at 68.1. And I was like, okay, you know what? I don't think he's getting that, because this is a really good defense. And yeah, I mean, Keenan Allen, he had a great game again. And that's because I think, you had Johnston more involved. Not as much as last week, but still he was involved and caught passes. We've seen him being targeted, not catching. But again, when he's on the field, it opens up more opportunities for Keenan Allen. And we saw that yesterday. And that last catch was just insane. I know a lot of people had him going under on receiving yards, and that last catch got him over like by 3 yards. So they were really pissed at that. But, I mean, he, I think, came to life yesterday, and that's because the other guy stepped up. Um, Brees Hall, that last catch that he made, I think went for 20 yards and got called back. Aside from that, he didn't really have that big of a game. And then Garrett Wilson, we knew he was going to have a big game. I mean, most wide receiver ones are going to have a big game. Doesn't matter against what defense. Like Keenan Allen had a big game, right? But comparatively, CeeDee Lamb, um, all these guys like Devontae Adams, Justin Jefferson, the guys that we faced in the past had much bigger games than Garrett Wilson. Whatever the case might have been, worst QB, whatever, but he still had a worse game. So that tells me that the defense played better. There was one miscommunication, where it went deep. I don't know the name of the receiver, but Asante Samuel Jr., there was a miscommunication there, and he just turned his back, and the receiver's wide open. So Wilson went downfield there. But aside from that, they played a pretty, you know, uh, good overall game. It was nice seeing the rookie Henley on the field. I think he's going to be special. Dean Marlowe, I've spoken about him before. I think he did a good job in Derwin's absence. And Derwin, I think he's back. We said a couple weeks ago that he's not the same, maybe because of injuries or whatever, but he's back. And these last 2 weeks have proven it. So now, week 10, it's going to be very difficult. I'm not going to lie. It's going to be very difficult. It's not an easy team to beat. I'm not sure if Montgomery will play. He was questionable a couple weeks. I'm not sure if he'll play, but if he does play, he's going to be a workhorse. I would assume he gets at least 20 carries. So the run defense has to step up. And like you said last week, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Joshua Palmer was picked ahead of him. He wants that, a revenge type game against the Chargers. Plus his return to LA, going to USC and all of that. It'll be interesting, Tuli, USC product, as well as Amon-Ra. It'll be interesting to watch those two, but it's not going to be easy. I have hope, because it's in LA. I have hope. I think these last 2 wins are gonna we're gonna kind of feed off that type of performance. But yeah, I mean, we've seen the Lions struggle also. Against the Ravens, they struggled, and Ravens' defense is incredible. And we see the Ravens, later on in the season. But that's the type of defense we need to have on Sunday if we want to beat this Lions team.
Yeah, this will be a different test because this is a high-powered offense. A lot more so than the last couple of weeks against the Jets and the Bears. Yeah, they have weapons all over the field. Gibbs has been playing really well lately too. So even if they don't have Montgomery, yeah, we're still gonna have to stop the run again. And yeah, we've had trouble in the early games this season with teams with a strong passing attack, and the Lions have that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this will be a good test to see where we're at. You mentioned miscommunication. I don't know if you saw the Manning telecast of the game.
No.
Oh, they had Trevor Lawrence on there, and they were asking him how you attack this Chargers defense, and he mentioned miscommunications
Interesting.
sometimes. Yeah, so that's something we'll need to clean up because it's
Exactly. Yeah, it's a must.
yeah, especially it seemed like against Kelsey and the Chiefs. Yeah, it seems like every game we let somebody go for a long one, just on a miscommunication. Yeah, so but otherwise the defense has been great the last couple of weeks. So hopefully, and you think we should get our offense going this game against the Lions. They're not crazy strong defense like the Jets.
Yeah.
We'll get hopefully we'll get Guyton involved this next game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good to see Guyton back. I didn't expect much from him. Obviously, it's his first game back.
Yeah.
But slowly but surely, I think he'll get the feel of the game, and possibly with Guyton in there, that opened things up for Keenan too. But I mean, Darius Davis, that huge punt return to start things off. I was surprised, to see that. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a strong game, I would say, offensively, but at the same time, it was mistake free, and that's what matters. If it wasn't a strong game plus turnovers, then that's a problem. But it was mistake free against a good defense, so I don't get all the criticism about Herbert. He did what he had to do. There are quarterbacks who, their defense plays well, but they screw up and they cost them the game. But you don't hear anything. Josh Allen, Mahomes at times, you don't hear any criticism of them, but it's always Herbert that they criticize, which speaks volumes. But the Bengals beat the Bills. So I believe the Bills are 5-3 now, and so are the Bengals. I think so. So that's good for the Chargers. I think last week we said that Bengals should win for the Chargers, benefit because now they're at 3 losses. We're at 4. Chiefs, unfortunately, won, but they get the Eagles next. And the Eagles, they played well against the Cowboys. I don't think they're going to lose against the Chiefs. It's just Jalen Hurts is a bit banged up, so that's something to monitor. But I don't think they have guys who can, keep up with AJ Brown, Devontae Smith, etc. So, if the Chiefs lose next week, all the more reason for the Chargers to get the win, right? To stay, one game apart from them. But yeah, like you said, the Lions, Hutchinson, he's like a Max Crosby type, is what I look at him. He's very aggressive, and Trey Pipkins, he's got a lot to handle Sunday. He got called for a couple penalties against the Jets. You can't have that. You had a clean game against the Bears, and you saw how well they played without the penalties. A couple penalties against the Jets, okay, but you can't have that constantly. And Hutchinson's not easy to contain. I mean, this guy, every time I watch the Lions, it's like he's getting a sack every game, like Max Crosby. So they have to really strategize to how they're going to stop this guy. If that means adding another tight end to block, I don't know. But they have to strategize that because it could be a problem, especially with that finger injury of Herbert. You can't have him getting hit. Aside from that, I mean, Eckler, he played well. People expected big things from him receiving wise. That I mean, he doesn't have to have a big receiving game to be impactful. He had what, 2 touchdowns?
Yeah, I think 3. I think he had
3.
all. I think he had all our touchdowns. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's back. The last one where it was like 3 times he had to go in, and it was constant flag. But no, he's back. I mean, I think Eckler's back from that injury. That injury's healed, and Bosa looks back. Derwin looks back. So this is a team that we were talking about before the season began. I don't want to get too carried away because we got to beat a good team, right? Like the Lions. Lions are a good team. And then we go to Green Bay, and then we play the Ravens. But these are winnable games. And I think if we win 2 of the next 3, we're back. We're back in the contention. And if we win 3 of 3, even better, right? But just realistically, if we lose, let's say, against the Lions or the Ravens, that's still okay. But I think the Ravens game will be the toughest out of these 3. It's just, that defense is really scary for the Ravens. I didn't expect them to be that good. And Lamar Jackson, obviously, on top of that, Odell, Zay Flowers. And Zay Flowers, we passed up on him in the draft, so he's going to want to, get his revenge too. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting down the line, but just got to take it game by game. Focus on Sunday, win that game. Jared Goff, homecoming kind of as well, played for the Rams for a couple of years. So I don't think it's going to be difficult to contain Goff, in my opinion, because when he's pressured, it seems like that's when he gets off his game. So, you need Tuli, Mack, Bosa, these guys to pressure him like they did Zach Wilson. And he's not as mobile as Zach Wilson. So you got to pressure him. And he doesn't have that quick of a release like Tua, let's say. I predict that all 3 are going to get sacks again on Sunday because the offensive line for the Lions is very good. But the way these guys played yesterday, I don't know if any offensive line is going to be able to stop it. And the run game, I think that's the one thing you have to pay attention to with the Lions as a run game because they tire you with constantly handing it off to Montgomery. I mean, I watched these guys when Montgomery was playing, and every other play, it's a run. It doesn't matter. If it's a 3rd and 5, they're going to run. They don't care. Like, he'll get 30 carries, and they don't care. And then they'll start opening up, and they'll do play action to Amon-Ra and Marvin Jones and all these guys. But Jameson Williams is back. He hasn't done much. Hopefully that continues, and we don't let him, go off. But Josh Reynolds, I think, is another guy to look out for because of that connection with Goff since the Rams days. So I think those are the 2 guys I guess to look out for, Reynolds and Amon-Ra. And then Sam Laporta, he's pretty good. Yesterday, they kind of held Conklin to, minimal yards, except for that last deep bomb from Wilson. So tight ends wise, they do good, relatively well. It's just Derwin has to pay extra attention to Laporta.
Yeah. I think, like you said, getting pressure on Goff will be key. Goff, for whatever reason, usually away games he struggles. He's a lot better at home than away. But like you said, he played for the Rams, so maybe he'll feel like it's a home game. But
Well, he never played at SoFi,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah. That's true. Uh, um, and one note about Eckler, I think he is back, but I follow those fantasy doctors on Twitter, and one of them says a high ankle sprain you can't 100% come back from during the season. It takes a whole season to really fully heal. That Saquon Barkley's been saying he's not healed from his high ankle sprain. So we'll see. But Eckler does look really good, and
yeah, and these guys give painkillers, in the back, and they know how to deal with it. I'm assuming. Same with Herbert. They give him painkillers probably for that finger. So hopefully, it doesn't linger too much, and he's, I would assume he'll be 100% by playoff time, but who knows? He might get injured again, or
yeah,
you never know with football. But
yeah,
no, I think yesterday really was the game where I said, okay, this team's back, because the Jets are the real deal. I know they don't have a great quarterback, but the rest of that team is very good. So that's why I'm saying when Aaron Rodgers comes back, it's a scary sight. Um, if they play, let's say, the Bengals or Bills in the playoffs first round, I got the Jets winning. If Rodgers plays, I got the Jets winning. Truly,
yeah.
I don't think this team will lose that easily.
Yeah,
So
well, they're like the Ravens, if because the
yeah,
Ravens have that defense, and they have Lamar Jackson, so
yeah.
they come at you at both sides, like yeah,
Another interesting thing is that they play the Raiders next, and the Raiders are 4-5, Jets 4-4. So both teams really need a win here, and either of their losses benefits the Chargers. Well, more so the Raiders, obviously, because they're in our division. But you know, Aiden O'Connell started last game for the Raiders. Again, Devontae Adams not targeted much, which I don't understand at all. Like, you have a receiver of that caliber, you got to go to him 15 times a game. I don't understand that. Just rely on him. They look better though with that new head coach. It might be because they play the Giants. I don't know, but they look better. And time will tell. But this is an important game for both sides now, the Jets and the Raiders. So a loss to either of these teams is benefits the Chargers. Obviously, Raiders more. But even if the Jets win and the Chargers win, then we own the tiebreaker. So I think it benefits us if the Raiders lose more so than the Jets, but either way, it works because we have the tiebreaker against the Jets too. I mean, against the Raiders too.
yeah, yeah.
So
I know the Raiders played better. I still don't see them as a real threat.
I don't, I don't, I don't. Especially if you're not going to involve Devontae Adams. What I like about Devontae Adams? It's like Keenan Allen. When your teammate scores, I think with Jacoby Myers, or no, it was Trey Tucker, the rookie, Trey Tucker. He got a deep bomb from O'Connell, like it was a 50-yard catch. And Devontae Adams on the other side of the field just cheering him on. And Keenan Allen does the same. But then you have guys like George Pickens, when Deontay Johnson scores, that's his first touchdown of the season. He just looks so upset and just walks to the sidelines all mad. Like, dude, what are you doing? This guy's a veteran. You're a rookie or second year player.
Yeah,
I don't like that at all. And I think the Chargers receiver core is in a way that you don't have that BS of Pickens. Everyone cheers each other on, and it's like a family. I don't like that stuff.
yeah. Did you see the video of the Chargers locker room all jumping up
I
and down?
saw that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah, I mean they're having fun, and you can tell they have a bond,
yeah.
So
Because they view it as a team sport. Pickens views it as like an individual statistic type of sport, and that's just not the case. It's like Quentin Johnston getting all mad because Keenan Allen scored a touchdown. That's ridiculous.
yeah,
So I think it was just something to point out here that you have that bond with the Chargers and Raiders too, really. But you know, going forward, I think the Raiders will be better off with this quarterback, Aiden O'Connell. Um, and you never know; they might be in contention in Week 17, let's say, right? So we get them again. I think in Vegas later in the season. That's a must win. We played O'Connell once, and that was his first game. He's going to be more experienced, obviously, by the time we play him again. So that's a must win. I think he's a lot better than Jimmy Garoppolo because he has a deep ball threat. So it'll be interesting to see how the Raiders progress and if there's a possibility of 3 AFC West teams making the playoffs. We'll see. But they look good against the Giants.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And talking about team chemistry, there was also Keenan Allen's Halloween party, and Justin Herbert was dressed as Anakin Skywalker there. So that's good. They're all having fun at
Yeah,
Halloween. That's you can tell teammates are close when they're doing
yeah,
off the field stuff like that together too,
yeah.
which is a good sign.
I mean, that's part of it. That's part of sports, just bonding. Because if you don't have that bond, you're not going to have that bond on the field either, obviously.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, and if you're out for stats, you're trying to get a big
yeah,
contract. That hurts the team really.
yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I just don't understand it, to be honest. Like, the guy's a veteran, you know, first touchdown this season.
and it's been more than a season because the commentator said it's his first touchdown since Ben Roethlisberger.
Wow.
Yeah,
You're kidding.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
All the more reason then.
yeah.
Crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah, I just don't like that. And
yeah,
there aren't many in the NFL like that. It's just that stood out to me last week. Like, I don't know. And then you see the Devontae Adams reaction after not having any targets, let alone catches. It's just night and day.
yeah,
But yeah,
uh,
no, there's a good bond with this team, and it'll pay off. Especially if we have a road game, let's say in the playoffs, it'll pay off. It's just now. I mean, I haven't seen the playoff standings. I'm not even sure if we're in it, but you know,
I, I think we're one game out. I think we're
one game out.
yeah, I think so.
So all the more reason to win. Next game.
Yeah,
And in that Packers game, they struggled against the Rams in the first half, and then kind of pulled away. That's a team to beat and rest players. Like we did against the Jets. Um, that should not be a close game against the Packers.
yeah,
Again, a road game, and we beat the Jets on the road. So it should be the same thing against the Packers because then you get the Ravens, and that's going to be a very tough game. So
yeah. And this is a short week against the Lions.
yeah,
So yeah, we really need these next two to go 6-4, and because like you said, who knows what's going to happen against the Ravens? Such a tough team.
yeah,
I can still remember. I think it was a couple seasons ago. We played in Baltimore.
hmm
We were on a winning streak. We felt good, and they just crushed us.
yeah,
So that coach, John Harbaugh, great coach. That team, they play a really tough defense. They're just you're not going to get an easy win against them.
yeah,
It's going to be a slugfest. So yeah,
yeah. No, they're a very tough team. Um, you know, I think as a all around, I think that team could be one of the best.
yeah,
Between Lamar and Flowers and Mark Andrews, it's like you have everyone in those positions that could be wide receiver one, tight end one, QB one, and then running back wise, Justice Hill, I think he's solid. But then you got this young guy, um, Keontae Mitchell, I believe is his name.
mhm.
Don't quote me on that, but he is really good. And it's gonna be very tough because
Yeah,
that defense is like the defense with Joe Flacco, in my opinion.
yeah.
That's what it reminds me of.
And even Gus Edwards, I think he had three
Yeah,
touchdowns the last game. And yeah, that young guy broke off some long runs for
yeah,
touchdowns. So yeah, they have everything. They have the complete package. So
yeah.
there's not really a weakness there. So
It'll be tough. That's why it's a must-win Sunday.
yeah,
I mean, I've been saying that since like week 7, week 6. It's a must-win, but it is.
Yeah.
And like you said, it's a short week, and we saw what happened after a short week. We got beat by the Chiefs by 14. So let's hope that doesn't happen again. And I don't think it will. But all hands on deck. I mean, this is not going to be an easy game. Um, they got, I think, Jerry Jacobs is the guy, is a cornerback's name for the Lions. He's a young, I think he's a rookie. Really good cornerback. But you know, the way that the receivers played against Sauce Gardner, I'm not concerned about Jerry Jacobs. He's had a couple of pick sixes this season. Um, but I'm not worried about it because Herbert's taking care of the ball this year. Knock on wood, let's not start something here. But I'm not worried. I think he's very calculated in his throws. And he's thrown two interceptions maybe this year, if that. And one of them was in a blowout, I think.
Yeah.
So he's taking care of the ball.
Yeah, yeah. We just got to do more of the same against the Lions. Get to the quarterback, get Eckler going, and hopefully we add a couple, add Quentin Johnston, Guyton, get one of those guys or both those guys in the mix. Yeah, we had Gerald Everett back last game. He had a couple nice catches where he's always so hard to tackle. Like he's always dragging
Yeah.
people down with him. Let's get him more involved. Parham in the red zone.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna see a different game this time because we're not going to be so shackled on the offensive end, but on
Oh, I
the
agree. I
yeah,
agree. Yeah.
it'll be more of a shootout, I think. But
Yeah.
hopefully that defense shows up again for us.
I think it will. I think
Yeah,
it will. It's just going to be tougher this time because Goff is a better quarterback.
yeah,
But I think it will because we're playing at home and they're more comfortable at home. And Aloy Gilman, again, makes such a big difference. And so he didn't play against the Chiefs, I don't think. And the two games that he's been back, he's been phenomenal. And the defense has been playing well. So that should give you a hint that, he was a missing piece. And at the same time, you need guys like Bosa, Mack, Tuli to keep pressuring the quarterback. And Michael Davis needs to, he's doing an okay job. I'm not going to say he's doing bad. He's doing okay. He's got to just do better. Just be that lockdown corner that you were in 2021.
yeah.
Because we're going to need it, especially Sunday against Amon Ra. So,
Yeah, yeah. I have a feeling Amon Ra is going to bring it on Sunday, man.
yeah.
He's got that fire. He's going to want to prove that. Yeah,
I like him. I
yeah.
really like him as a
I like
player.
it.
It's just I don't like him when he plays us. I
Yeah,
really like him though. He's really good.
yeah,
And Josh Reynolds is another guy to look at. Asante Samuel Jr. He's probably gonna get that assignment. Josh Reynolds could have a big game. They got to contain him. Amon Ra. Honestly, if they run the ball even better, because those two will be limited, and they might run to keep Herbert off the field. So we'll see if Montgomery even plays. We'll see. But I was looking at the standings here, and it's got the Chiefs at 7-2, Ravens 7-2, Jaguars 6-2, which I was surprised. I didn't realize they only had two losses.
yeah.
And then Dolphins 6-3, Steelers 5-3, Browns 5-3, Bengals 5-3. And then on the bubble are the Bills, Texans, Chargers, Jets. And all of them are 4-4 except for the Bills being 5-4.
Okay.
So we still have a lot of work to do. We're one game behind, Bengals, Browns, and Steelers.
Mm-hmm.
But if the Chiefs lose, that's even better for us, right? So, and right now the Lions are second in the NFC, which is very surprising.
Yeah.
But I mean, even the Niners are third, so that's pretty surprising that the Lions are ahead of the Niners.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it'll be interesting to see the Niners too with Chase Young now. A lot of good football to go. And I didn't realize we were that far behind, to be honest. I thought we were like more so first on in the bubble, but I guess not. But yeah, I mean, every game counts here. So
Yeah. Yeah, every game's huge. Teams like the Steelers, you think may not be able to keep up that pace.
yeah, I don't. The thing with the Steelers is the defense.
Yeah,
Defense is so damn good.
yeah,
It doesn't even matter what Pickett does. that's what scares me about the Steelers is that the defense continues this and they just kind of will their way into the playoffs and then get beat in the first round. Hopefully that doesn't happen and we, outpace them toward the end of the season. But yeah, the defense is very good for the Steelers.
Yeah, and the Chiefs are going to be hard, tough to catch. They
Yeah.
had that win against the Dolphins in Germany. Tua really should have tied that game. He whiffed on a pass at the end of the game,
Yeah.
short armed it. That would have been a touchdown to tie it. But yeah, the Chiefs are. It's like their defense is stronger and their offense just stalls out sometimes. And
Yeah.
do you watch Pardon the Interruption (PTI) on ESPN?
No,
Okay,
I only watch First Take when I watch ESPN or like NBA Countdown or some stuff like that. But
okay, it's a show I've been watching for years. I love those guys, Tony Kornheiser and Mike Wilbon. But Wilbon
okay, okay.
has an interesting theory about the Chiefs. Nagy is the offensive coordinator for the Chiefs, and Wilbon just hates him from his time with the Bears and says he's going to bring the Chiefs down. That he's the reason why the offense stalls out.
Interesting.
That his play calling is just so bad that that Chiefs offense has trouble at times, and I could see that. I could see that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is that in the playoffs, Andy Reid might just say screw off and like he's gonna take over those calls or like tell Mahomes to just call his own plays. You never know, but interesting.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully that's the case, and they let Nagy do his thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
better for us.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
But yeah, I mean, every game is a must win here. It just is because of those early losses that we had, like against the Titans. It should have been a win. And now they got Will Levis, and he's pretty solid.
yeah,
He didn't have any touchdowns last game against the Steelers, but Steelers defense is incredible.
yeah,
So they play the Buccaneers next. Let's see what he does there. CJ Stroud just had 4 touchdowns against the Bucks. He's special. I mean, Stroud. I think when we were giving the predictions to win the division, I had the Texans because of Stroud. Just everyone on that team is really good, truly, and they're good. I personally don't see them missing the playoffs. I don't see the Bills missing the playoffs. So there are a lot of good teams here, and Steelers I don't think survive. Browns, they're a surprise to me. I don't think they make it. So it's really between the Bills, Texans, and Chargers, in my opinion, for that in the hunt. But the Chiefs, I don't know, if they lose against the Eagles, that opens up a lot of opportunities for the Chargers. And then the Ravens we get later on in the season. And I'm not sure what the Ravens schedule looks like, but we get the Ravens week 12. By that time, they may lose one.
yeah,
And then we're right there. So that's why these last 2 games were very important. But we can't start losing now. We got to keep going.
yeah. One game at a time, and yeah, it's been looking good lately. We have hope again.
Yeah.
It looked bleak a couple weeks ago at 2-4. So
Yeah.
just the way this defense has been playing. Getting to the quarterback, you always have a chance if you can get to the quarterback and create turnovers like
Hmm.
we've been doing. Yeah, you should win the game with the team we have. Um,
Absolutely. Absolutely. And all the hate on Herbert, I mean, he's playing mistake free. That's all that matters.
yeah,
Um, and it's just the second half, let's see how we do in the second half against the Lions because we know how we start. It's how we finish.
yeah,
It's like if there are any Laker fans out there, it's like the Lakers,
yeah.
start so well in the first half, then just screw up in the second half. It's same with the Chargers. So
Don't even get me started on the Lakers right now. Defense and coaching, I think, are problems there
yeah,
because the Lakers have a better all-around team now, more talent.
yeah. No, I
So
think the rotationing is just horrible for Darvin Ham.
yeah,
I think that's the main issue with this team. But
yeah,
yeah,
but
the Ravens play the Browns Sunday. So that, 5-3, 7-2 right there. If the Browns lose, they're 5-4.
yeah,
But the Browns have been playing better.
yeah. I
Yeah,
think
go ahead.
the Browns have been playing really good defense with
Yeah.
Myles Garrett. I mean, and they have Deshaun Watson back, who's kind of a wild card there.
Yeah, I don't trust Watson in the playoffs at all. And that defense again is very good. The run defense is very good for them. So Jerome Ford might not do much. I don't see the Browns winning, but if they do, even better for us because they'll be at 3 losses. The Ravens going into a bye week, and then they play the Chargers. So that could be a big break for the Chargers. But
yeah. And division games, they're always kind of a toss up too. Those two teams have played each other so much.
Yeah,
It really it'll be a tough game for both teams.
It might be like the Chiefs Broncos.
Yeah,
You just never
yeah,
know. You never
yeah.
know.
Never know.
So there are a lot of big games again this week. Last week there were big games. This week, bigger, I think. But they played the. No, I'm sorry, they don't have a bye week. No, they play the Bengals after the Browns,
Okay.
and that's Thursday Night Football.
Oh.
This is getting very interesting because they play the Browns, Bengals, and they play the Chargers. And then later in the season, they play the Jaguars and the Niners. And the Niners is a Christmas Day game. So that should be very interesting. But
Yeah.
they have a very tough schedule. And, the top teams right now, whoever the Ravens are going to play, besides the Rams, are in the playoffs currently.
Wow.
So it's going to benefit us no matter what. And
Yeah.
that Bengals game will be big too.
Yeah. So are they coming off? Are they having a short week against us? Then are they playing Thursday? Then or no? Okay.
It's the other way.
Okay. Yeah.
They're
Okay.
getting a longer
Like
rest.
longer week. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then we're flying from Green Bay.
Oh
So
yeah.
hopefully,
Yeah.
I mean, it's not worse than, flying on a Monday or Tuesday from New Jersey to LA, but they have a very tough schedule. I just looked at it right now and yeah, they play the Jaguars who are also 7-2, I believe 6-2, 6-2, and the Ravens are 7-2. They have a lot of tough games. So it's not like we don't have tough games, but that is a very tough schedule.
Yeah.
And how much do we trust Lamar Jackson? There's that too. So I have hope, even more hope now, that we right the ship. And you never know. I mean, the Bengals and Browns are both desperate for wins. So what's interesting is currently in the playoffs, I believe it's all NFC North teams because you have the Ravens as the leader, and you have the Steelers, Browns, Bengals. So it's all NFC North in the playoffs.
Wow.
I'm sorry, not NFC, AFC.
Oh,
So interesting. If that remains, which it won't, that'll be something to watch. But it'll be down to the wire, I think, for that division because they're all at 3 losses besides the Ravens, and the Ravens play the Browns and Bengals next. So there's a lot to dice up there. But yeah, the Chargers next 3 are going to be very big. Next 3 are going to be very big. I think I don't have a doubt that they beat the Packers. But then again, every time I say that, that's the game that they lose. So, hopefully that doesn't happen. But next 3 are going to be very big for the Chargers.
yeah. And there was a report recently about who was it? Was it Staley telling going into the DB room and telling the Chargers he was sorry about J.C. Jackson? So one of the coaches did.
Oh, wow. I didn't
Yeah,
hear about that.
yeah. So it was, and the report was also that JC really didn't try hard in practice. That he was. It seems like he was weighing the team down. Early on in the season.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
And you had the uncertainty with Michael Davis. Am I going to play? Am I not going to play?
Right.
And
Right.
then you got that that bad attitude and a guy not giving his all. In those early games that really came
Yeah.
back to bite us. So
Yeah.
hopefully with that gone, that's just a weight off our shoulders.
I think it is.
Yeah.
It already shows it, it shows it. Yeah, I mean, I believe it. His attitude and, just like you said, lack of care, not wanting to play, being asked to come on the field and I'm saying no. What are you talking about? It's like us going to our job and saying, "No, we'll take the day off," and get fired. That's what happens to normal people.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
I don't know. It's a weird situation with JC.
yeah, and I didn't know that about practice, that he was kind of taking it easy on practice too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not sure who it was who apologized. It could have been Telesco. Yeah,
Oh, maybe.
yeah,
Maybe. I
but
mean, it's maybe what JC wanted to get out of there,
yeah,
to go back to Belichick. And hey, good riddance. I mean, we don't need him. Um, you know, we I was excited to get him. I'll be honest. I was, because he was considered the best corner at the time, and then came to the Chargers and became one of the worst. Just speaking truly here, he was one of the worst corners with us. So good riddance. I mean,
and that'll be an interesting story when we play the
the
Patriots.
Patriots, yeah.
Yeah,
And that's in New England.
yeah, yeah,
We always struggle it's just historically we struggle in New England. So that's a scary game in my opinion. That defense is still good. I think what I'm looking forward to is Keenan Allen against JC, and if JC even matches up with Keenan, he's going to torch him. That's all I know.
yeah,
He's
yeah,
going to torch him. Our defense just has to hold their own in that game. Mac Jones, he's not good. He's just not. So just hold your own. And if he's a starter at the time, Ramondre Stevenson is a good running back. I think we have to contain him and just hold their own against the pass game. But yeah, I mean, there was again talk about Staley and his job being on the line, this and that. We've always said here that that's not going to happen this season. I mean, I wanted him fired after the Jacksonville loss. That didn't happen. It's not going to happen now. We're not going to pay two coaches at the same time. And there's no point in firing him now because, again, you're going to have him sitting on the couch and getting paid and paying another coach. It doesn't make sense. And there's nobody really available right now.
yeah,
Um, Michigan, Harbaugh, he's part of this cheating scandal that's still, under investigation. That's ruled out for now. But I think he'd be a good coach for the Chargers, depending on, what happens with this investigation. But that it's not going to happen this season. Forget it. He's going to be here for the rest of the year. He might even cost us a playoff game again. We don't know. But, I think after this year, if we don't make it to, let's say, the conference championship, he's gone.
yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Some other interesting notes from that Manning telecast.
Mm-hmm.
They were talking to Trevor Lawrence, and they were asking him, did you really think you were going to come back, down 27-0? And he said, I wasn't even thinking about winning. He was like, I just knew we were going to come out and play, like we were just going to give it the best shot we had, and we weren't even thinking about winning the game. But he gave compliments to Herbert. Said he's a great quarterback, and he makes all the right reads, and just saying a lot of good things about Herbert. And they had Arnold Schwarzenegger on too as a guest, and and Arnold, right before Eckler broke off a long run that almost got a touchdown. Arnold
Mm-hmm.
said they asked him predict, is it going to be a pass or a run for a touchdown? He goes, Eckler's going to get a run in a touchdown, and that Eckler did that. And
I
then
think it's for a Chargers fan.
yeah. There's that famous,
Yeah.
go Chargers. Yeah. I think I was actually at that game in San Diego when Schwarzenegger did that.
Yeah, I mean, going back to Lawrence, that's the right attitude.
Yeah,
Go in and give it your all. That's
yeah,
the right attitude.
yeah, yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I feel like a lot of quarterbacks, all quarterbacks, from what I've heard, have good things to say about Herbert.
yeah,
And yesterday he was talking with Rogers before the game, and Rogers, I guess, was giving him some pointers. Not too much, obviously, because they're on opposite teams. But it's good to see, like veterans taking these young guys under their wing and teaching them, the game, because they have a lot to learn. I mean, even the best of them have a lot to learn from these vets. So
yeah. And one more thing, they asked him about the Chargers defense, how you attack the Chargers defense, and he said the first thing is you got to be aware of those pass rushers. That's the very first
yeah,
thing.
yeah.
And then the thing about sometimes you can catch them with a mistake. You know, uh, So
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of why last year they were running a lot against the Chargers, just in general,
yeah,
and it was working. This year, it's not working, and I think credit where credit's due. Kenneth Murray's been playing a lot better. Eric Kendricks played decently last game. I know he had a missed tackle, but all around he played, I think, better. Especially better than the Chiefs game. That was a horrible game from Kendricks, and we can't have that again.
yeah,
But I think his addition has been big. Um, Yeah, I mean, overall run game wise, rush defense wise, I should say, they've done a good job. It's
yeah,
more the cornerbacks who were kind of struggling, but yesterday played better.
yeah,
And again, Bosa, Mack, Tuli, great job.
yeah.
And we got to see more of that.
Yeah. Oh, and one other thing I forgot.
Mhm.
He said the Chargers are great at throwing different looks at you, and that really confused him the first half when he threw those like 4 picks.
Yeah,
He said he was confused by the defense, and then he figured it out the second half. So
man, it's bringing me nightmares.
I know. I just seen
That
it on my TV. I was like, oh, yeah,
that first half, like I was just so confident we're gonna finally advance and this and that. Second half, I'm like, what the fuck just happened? You
yeah,
know, it was crazy. It was crazy, and people were like texting me, like my phone's blowing up, and I was like, just relax, guys. I'm not gonna look at my phone right now. I'm just so pissed.
yeah, yeah,
I was so pissed that game. It was really bad. It was really bad.
yeah.
But you never know. We might get him again this year.
Yeah,
Um,
I hope we do. I hope
I
we.
hope so. I
Yeah,
hope so. And I hope it's in Jacksonville again, so
yeah,
they don't say, oh, you guys beat us at your home. No, I want it in Jacksonville. I want to beat them because what's the alternative? In Kansas City where it's snowing? I don't want that.
yeah,
It could be in Miami, which, is a better atmosphere, I think, than Buffalo.
yeah,
Um, so either Miami or Jacksonville, one of the Florida uh, cities because it's warmer there and we're more accustomed to that. It's better than being in snow. So I think as long as they avoid Kansas City and Buffalo, they'll be okay. I think we've played Cincinnati in a wild card. I'm not, or maybe I was watching another game. Cincinnati was hosting the wild card. There was no snow there either. It tends to snow in Cincinnati, but not that wild card weekend. I think it's like a week after that the snow starts or something like that. But yeah, any of those places that don't snow,
yeah. I know with Rivers, we've been Cincinnati in the playoffs before.
that could be what it was.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean, I would love to see them again in the playoffs. And I think this time they'll be prepared and they won't blow a 27-point lead. But really, it's from that game, I think, that, they 27-point lead just completely wiped off second half. And since then, they haven't been able to, I don't know, kind of replicate what they were doing in the first half in the second half until these last 2 weeks.
yeah. These
And now
last,
we play a good team. So let's see what happens in the second half this week.
yeah, yeah. I think, yeah. Just losing Mike Williams right before that game
Yeah.
was really huge. But
Yeah.
we lost him again, so we got to move on. Just keep doing
Look,
what we're doing.
I think we're better now than we were, last year without, because we have Quentin Johnston now, and he's kind of slowly but surely getting the hang of it and making some good catches. Like he had a good catch yesterday. Palmer will return. Darius Davis, we saw what he can do.
Yeah,
I think I still want to see him more, in the offensive game. And I think, veterans like Eckler, Keenan Allen, and and Herbert, he's not a veteran, but Herbert, they want that revenge against Jacksonville. I remember Sebastian Joseph Day. He was very emotional. You got to step it up, and you know that's why I want the Jaguars just to see what the team can do.
yeah,
I know Derwin wants that revenge, so Bosa needs to stop. The one thing with Bosa, he played very well yesterday. He got a roughing the passer call again. He needs to stop those because that it cost us against Jacksonville,
yeah,
right? He's
yeah,
got to stop those. He's getting way too many of them. And even though he played very well, if it was a close game, that would have cost us.
Yeah.
So he's got to stop those.
Yeah. And Derwin had that problem earlier, and
Right.
he's cleaned that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, lately. So
Yeah.
yeah,
I think the thing with Derwin is he just plays too aggressive, and I like that because we need that in that defense. And we saw that yesterday, I think, the aggressiveness of this defense. Usually last year, especially, they were so soft.
yeah,
This year they're more aggressive, and I like it. And it could be because of Tuli's addition, Eric Kendricks, but they're just better.
yeah,
But yeah, I think Derwin is just he plays a little too aggressive, a little too excited, and gets those helmet to helmet hits. But other than that, he's played very well last 2 weeks.
yeah. All right. Well, yeah. Just remember to subscribe and smash that like button, and we will be back after that Lions game.
Yep.
All right.
Hey guys.
See you guys later.